So watching Breakfast Central, well, media practitioners in Zimbabwe have raised concern over the low number of journalists so far accredited to cover the March 26 by-elections. They say this is likely to deprive citizens of critical electoral information. This comes after Zimbabwe Electoral Commission ZEC tweeted that it had accredited 488 local observers, 18 foreign observers and 4 local journalists for the upcoming election activities as of the 11th of March 2022.
Accreditation is being done in Harare and Bulawayo, which are the 2 biggest cities in the country. Now, a case that journalists have criticized, and have also lamented the duplication of accreditation by ZEC. Joining us to talk a little bit more on this issue is Young Journalists Association spokesperson Leopold Munhende. Many thanks for joining the program, Leopold. Now, what could be the reason, just as we've read in the story, for the low uptake of journalist accreditation for the March 26 by-elections?
Well, the first thing is that ZEC did not really publicize effectively when the process was going to start and when it will end. What happened was journalists kept on asking when this process will start. And all of a sudden we hear only 4 have been accredited. We don't even know the 4. We don't even know which publication they write for, but that is what we're getting. These 4 are supposed to cover elections in over 100 wards and constituencies. It doesn't make sense at all. And it's a very huge challenge, especially for the people of Zimbabwe, because they want to know what will be happening on the day. They want to know who other issues. You know, our elections in the past have been affected by a lot of issues such as violence, rigging. People want to know how this election is being conducted, but only 4 have been accredited to cover it.
All right, Leopold, well, you sound a little bit unhappy about this, but what does this really mean for the 2023 elections? Is the situation going to improve, and are journalist associations like yourself doing anything to make sure that this doesn't happen again?
Well, we are currently we are accredited by the Zimbabwe Media Commission as journalists of Zimbabwe. This is the accreditation which works across all sectors, be it in business, in covering politics and other issues. So what we have been doing as an association, in conjunction with other associations, media-related associations, is that we have been calling for the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission to accept the Zimbabwe Media Commission accreditation as the accreditation for covering elections. There is no need for ZEC to accredit again when we paid to the Zimbabwe Media Commission to get accredited. Both are government institutions. So it's like government is double dipping now. It's charging journalists to be accredited with its ZMC, the Zimbabwe Media Commission, and then charging again for journalists to get accredited by ZEC. So we have been calling ZEC to say, you know what, we understand for logistical purposes, you might want to account for the number of journalists who are covering elections in the country, be they the by-elections which are coming on the 26th or the general elections which are coming next year. But we are saying there are a lot of challenges which come with separate accreditation. Let the ZMC work for covering the elections this year and next year. Simple and straightforward. Instead of this confusion is what has brought this kind of situation we're in now.
All right. Now, looking at the situation of things, Bulawayo and Harare are the 2 major cities in Zimbabwe. We're wondering if that's the only place where the election will happen, seeing that we're just 10 days away. What happens to journalists in the rural areas? Is there still time for journalists to even be accredited?
That's a very good question. You know, we have had problems of centralization in Zimbabwe. So the 2018 Constitution speaks on devolution of power, sharing responsibilities to provinces, to towns. Now the challenge is we are not seeing that. There are journalists in rural areas. There are journalists who work as far as Beitbridge, as far as Mutare, which are hundreds of kilometers away from Harare, and even more from Bulawayo. So you see that what ZEC has done is disenfranchise journalists who work from those towns. There is no longer any time. ZEC is not going to back down, that I'm sure of. So it's going to say only these 4. What we can hope for is a waiver, probably, or intervention by the Minister of Information to say, and Minister of Justice too, even the President, if he is willing to say, let journalists cover this election. It's good for democracy, it's good for the country, and it also brings a bit of accountability to the electoral process. Everyone is not happy. It's not only me. Every journalist is not happy because this is a very important part of our democracy.
All right. Thank you so much for your input. We're just less than 10 days away, and we will be closely monitoring the situation with you as well. You're the Young Journalists Association spokesperson, Leopold Munhende. Thank you once again for joining the program.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me here.
All right. You're still watching Breakfast Central on News Central. Let's give you a recap of this current situation happening in Africa.